Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. My name is Ben Manalo. I'm an advanced BodyTalk instructor and practitioner. I have been practicing the BodyTalk system since 2001 and teaching the BodyTalk system around the US and internationally since 2005. In this video today, I would like to share with you a specific technique that is used in some BodyTalk sessions that utilizes the power of sound, the power of the human voice. This particular technique has many applications, but one of the things that this particular technique can do is help to decrease stress and help to calm your nervous system. Now, in previous videos, you've seen me demonstrate how to do the BodyTalk cortices technique. This is a particular technique designed to help improve the health and function of your brain, and which also works to decrease stress and improve the health and function of your nervous system. If you're not already familiar with that particular technique, I invite you to check it out here on my page. You can Google it search for it on YouTube. And there are also many other BodyTalk practitioners and instructors, including the founder of the BodyTalk system, John Veltheim, describing and demonstrating how to do the BodyTalk cortices technique on yourself and for others. So if you don't already know how to tap out your cortices, I strongly encourage you to do that, because that technique, in conjunction with this technique, which I'm about to share with you, can have a profound impact on your overall health and well-being, and like I said, help to decrease stress and help to calm your nervous system, help improve the overall health and function of your entire body-mind. So this particular technique uses a specific sound, which you'll be making with your own voice, and it's the sound of Ohm, A-U-M, A-U-M. So this is a sound that has been used for many, many thousands and thousands of years in various practices and various traditions. And this sound has a very strong impact on your brain, on your nervous system, on your immune system, on your entire body-mind. Physical body, your energy body, your mental body, your emotional body, your spiritual body. This particular technique, when done consistently, really does a lot to help retrain your brain and your nervous system to function in a more healthy way, in a more practical, more effective, and more relaxed type of way. So this particular technique, we'll be applying that to what in BodyTalk we recognize as being your three main brains. Right? So you have the brain in your head, obviously, and then your heart also functions just like a brain. We call it your heart brain. And then your gut also functions just like a brain. Sometimes it's referred to as the gut brain, the enteric brain, sometimes called the second brain. So in the BodyTalk system, we recognize that all three of these brains are intended to work together as a team, as a single functioning brain. And when all three of these brains are working together as a team, as a single unit, it really helps the body to deal with stress more effectively. It helps you to recover from health issues, to deal with disease in a more healthy, more practical, more efficient way. So the sound we're going to be using is the sound of Ohm, A-U-M. And you may have heard this before. You may have heard a variation of this particular sound, O-M. And we're going to pronounce this sound or make the sound in a very specific way. Before I go into exactly how to make that sound, how to produce this sound with your own voice, I'd just like to bring your awareness to a specific technique. I don't know if it's a technique, but a specific concept called cymatics, which some of you might be familiar with. Cymatics, Cymatics, cymatics. And so the idea of cymatics, and you can do a Google search for this, you can do a YouTube search for it, some pretty interesting images there, videos. The idea of cymatics is that frequency actually has a geometry to it. Every frequency has a specific geometry to it. So you'll see when you watch some of those videos, the way that these particles of sand, for example, these grains of sand, when specific frequencies of sound are applied to those grains of sand actually take on a specific geometrical pattern. In the videos, they can only demonstrate it two-dimensionally, but obviously, or maybe not so obviously to me, that would be it would actually be a three-dimensional configuration, or like I say, I like to say a multi-dimensional geometrical figure that results from sound, right? So all sound is geometry, right? So that means music, right, has a specific geometry to it. Certain notes, certain scales have a certain geometry or a certain geometrical sequence, right, that go along with it. And of course, each of our voices, right, have a specific sound, a specific geometry that go along with it. And sound has been used over thousands and thousands of years as a very powerful healing tool. Things like crystal bowls or Tibetan singing bowls or chimes or gongs or the sound of people's voices, Gregorian chants or other types of chants, Buddhist monks chanting, other choruses or groups of people who come together to chant or to make sounds with their voice, and those sounds are used as a healing tool, right? Even prayer, right? So prayers, right, have a certain sound to them. The words have a certain sound. They have a certain geometry. So when you think of sound as having a specific geometry and the way that sound, even in Western allopathic medicine, right, in conventional Western medicine, sound is used as a healing tool. Ultrasounds, right? Ultrasounds are used when scanning the abdomen, right, the abdominal pelvic cavity, to get information about the developing baby. And ultrasound is also used to break up certain blockages or stones that may have developed within the body, right? So even conventional Western medicine recognizes the immense power of sound. So when you think of sound and the impact it can have on physical matter, then I don't think it's too difficult to make the correlation or the jump to the way that sound also has an impact on your physical body, on your cells, on your tissues, right? Because, as you know, our physical body is made up ultimately of frequencies, right? Molecules are made up of atoms. Atoms are made up of subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are really just frequencies of energy. And sound are also just frequencies of energy. Okay? So we're going to use this very ancient, very sacred sound of Ohm, in a sense, to reconfigure the geometry of these three brains: the head brain, the heart brain, the gut brain, and the entire body-mind. So the sacred sound of Ohm, so it's made up of three separate sounds: A-U-M, A-U-M. When you're making this sound, what I've found for myself is that it's very helpful to keep your mouth and your jaw as relaxed as possible. Sometimes the sound of Aum is referred to as the primordial sound or the original sound. And part of the reason for that is because the sound of Aum is one of, if not the only sound or series of sounds which you can make without needing to activate your tongue in any way, right? So all you need to do is generate a sound, produce a sound through your vocal cords, and simply by opening and closing your mouth, you can produce these three sounds, right? Ow, ah, oo, right? So you don't need to use your tongue, you don't need to press your tongue against your teeth or anything like that, right? So it's a very primal sound, very original sound that really is effortless. It's effortless. So the more effortless you can make this sound, right? The less effort you put into generating the sound, at least in my experience, the more effective it's going to be. Okay? So the first sound is ah, right? So ah. So in the beginning, you might want to stretch your jaw a little bit just to relax your jaw muscles. And the sound of ah. Ah. Right? So when you're making the sound of ah, really focus on relaxing your jaw, relaxing your tongue. Just letting your tongue rest and relax. Ah. Right? Relaxing all parts of your throat as much as possible. Relaxing your vocal cords. The next sound is oo, right? So we have ah followed by oo. Ooh. So bring awareness to your mouth, bring awareness to your lips, relax your lips when you're making that sound. Ooh. And then the last sound is a So that M sound. Okay, so you'll feel a little vibration there on your lips. Okay, so when we put all those three sounds together, sounds something like this. So obviously everyone's pitch, everyone's tone is going to be slightly different. So relaxing your throat, relaxing your vocal cords is, and learning how to do that, and learning how to relax your jaw and your tongue and your lips, your mouth, right, is part of the process as well. Okay? So what we're going to do as part of this exercise is going to apply that Aum sound to each of the three brains. So we'll start by placing our hands on our head, or you can place one hand on your head. And while you're making the sound, while you're generating the Aum sound, imagine or feel or sense the sound of Aum resonating throughout your brain, throughout your cranium, throughout your entire head. And maybe feel or sense or imagine all of the molecules and the atoms reconfiguring themselves into a healthy geometry while you produce that sound. And then we'll do the same thing for our heart. So you can place your hand over your heart. Wherever feels appropriate, you might feel it best to place your hand over your physical heart. You might want to just place it over the middle of your chest, wherever feels appropriate for you. And then the last time, you'll place your hand or hands on your belly while you make that sound. Okay, the sound of Aum. Keeping in mind that the belly brain or the gut brain actually begins in your throat. It begins in your pharynx, the back of your throat, continues down your entire esophagus, includes your stomach, your entire intestinal tract, all the way through to the rectum and the anus. Right? So the gut brain is actually a mesh-like network of neurons that permeates the lining of your entire digestive tract from your pharynx all the way to the anus. And interestingly, the gut brain is actually able to function not only just like a brain, but it's able to function independently of the rest of your nervous system. So interesting little factoid there. Okay, so when you're doing the Aum for the gut brain, you'll be feeling, right? Feel that sound resonating from your throat all the way through the entire digestive tract. So when we do the sound, we'll do it 3 times. Okay, so maybe do it 3 times on each area. And take a nice deep breath so we can do a nice long Aum. Or if you feel like doing a shorter Aum, that's fine. If at this point you're not comfortable doing the Aum, that's fine. If you want to just listen to me producing the sound, that's fine. It will still have some impact. And if you do choose to do that, just feel the resonance in each of those areas and still place your hand on the respective area as we go through. All right? So I think that's it for now. Let me take a quick sip of water and then we'll get started. Okay, so if you're going to make the sound along with me, you don't need to do it at the same pace that I do. So when you're doing this, even on your own after watching this video, just produce the sound in whatever way feels natural or feels appropriate for you at this particular time. So sometimes the ah might be a bit more prolonged, a bit more drawn out, and then the oo might be a bit shorter, and then the very short. Or sometimes the ah might be short, and then the oo might be a little bit longer, and then the short, or any combination of that. Right? So work with your intuition, right? Work with your body, listen to your body talk, and feel what feels right for you in this moment or in that moment when you're doing it in the future. Okay, so when I'm making the sound as we're going through these 3 Aums, you don't need to follow along with me and do it at the same pace or in the same way. Do it in a way that feels right for you. But if you want to follow along, of course, you're welcome to do that. Okay? And if you want to do it, if I'm still chanting Aum and you've not yet, and you've already finished, if you want to continue, go for it, okay? And then we'll move on to the next area. All right, so place one or both hands on your head. Bringing focus to your brain, to your entire head. Place one or both hands over your heart, bringing focus to the heart brain. And then one or both hands on your belly for the gut brain. Remember, it begins in your throat. So just sit with this for a moment. You might feel your body vibrating, tingling. Maybe take another slow, deep breath. And that's that. So, what I notice for myself when I generate that sound with my voice and my throat, my vocal cords are relaxed, the back of my throat is relaxed, my tongue is relaxed, and it's just a simple opening and closing of my jaw, just hinge, and the sound is coming out. There are some beautiful tones that are produced by that simple movement, that simple action, right? So you may hear that yourself when you are generating these sounds. So Aum, it's a very, very powerful, very ancient, very sacred sound of Aum. producing this sound several times a day, right? Like we just did. So several times meaning 3 times on the head brain, 3 times for the heart brain, the heart chakra, the heart energy, 3 times for the gut brain, the gut energy, and solar plexus, all of that. Generating, producing this sound several times a day really does a lot to help soothe and calm your brain and nervous system. There are other interesting videos that you can find on the web demonstrating the power of Ohm and a lot of information about what each of those sounds represents, the ah, the oo, the and the impact which this sound can have on your overall health and well-being. So thank you for joining me for this video. I hope you found it interesting and helpful. Again, if you want to check out Cymatics, I encourage you to do that. That might give you an interesting visual and a stronger sense of what we're actually doing when we produce sounds, or when we expose ourselves to certain sounds, or use certain sounds, or use certain tones of voice, or certain words, or certain language with ourselves or with others. So, interesting food for thought. If you want more information about the BodyTalk system, of course, just go to www.bodytalksystem.com. You can find me on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever, and on the BodyTalk website. My website isn't currently up, so you can find me there. And yeah, I welcome any comments or feedback or questions that you might have. So thanks again for checking it out, and have a beautiful day. All right. Cheers.